My next guest is truly a legend in the music industry. Teenager in Love, The Wanderer, Runaround Sue, they've all become standards. Throughout his 6-decade career, he's recorded well over 40 albums, the latest of which, Stomping Ground, was released late last year. But tonight, he's here to tell us about another project, the long-awaited stage musical based on his life and music. It's called, appropriately, The Wanderer. It's running now through April 24th at the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn, New Jersey, and it's a must-see. Please welcome back to the program, member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Bronx's own DION. DION, thanks for being back on the show. I want to start with this new musical at Paper Mill, The Wanderer. The run just started. Let's talk about the show itself. Now, you've been working on this for quite a while, and like so much else, I know it was delayed due to the pandemic. It's a jukebox musical that covers your tough upbringing in the Bronx, your rise to fame, and of course, finding the love of your life, Susan. But it doesn't shy away from the dark side of your story, your battle with addiction and your faith. What is it like for you to sit in a theater and watch the story of your life play out on stage?
Oh, Raymond, it's first of all, it's a joy to be with you. It's crazy to watch this show. It's so surreal, you know. First of all, I'll tell you a few things. Okay. You know, all my life, I'm easy to figure out. You know, I heard Hank Williams and Jimmy Reed when I was a youngster, and it hurled me into a place of enchantment and, you know, of pleasure and beauty and you know, delight. And all my life I've been looking for that inside me so I could find something and get it out physically to transmit that and bring others to that experience that I had when I was a, you know. So this show is like a 2.5-hour trip that definitely takes you through a range of emotions, and it takes you to a place of enchantment, you know.
How did the idea for this musical come about, and how much input did you have in the production?
Well, a lot. My friend Charles Messina, who's a great playwright, he's New York bred and born. You know, he walks the streets, and we usually have lunch together. And one day he said, "Dion, how does a Catholic Italian kid get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?" And I started to tell him that there was no rock and roll when I was a kid. There was, you know, I mean, yeah, you know, and I explained the journey, and he never had paper in front of him or a computer. But one day he put this whole thing together, and it, you know, just from our talks, and you know, it's all about when he pulled it back to me, I saw the early rock and roll history on the streets, and the you know, the romance and the action and the betrayal and the overcoming and the laughs and the songs that he wanted to insert that really, now when I watch it, Raymond, to answer your question, I'm watching it and I say, no wonder people bought these records. This is good.
Well, it's a journey, but I love that it's marrying the biographical background of some of these songs and the life you lived and your part and role in rock and roll history, which shouldn't be underestimated. I want to give folks a taste of this, the great music. Here's a little number from The Wanderer. Watch.
From a run around
Wow. I can only imagine what it's like for you to watch this. I mean, it's like watching yourself, reborn in a younger shell here, Dion. Tell me about the casting of these young actors, who some of them were literally born yesterday. Mike Wartella plays you. Did the actors get the era of the late 50s, early 60s right? Did you give them any notes?
Yeah, Mike Wartella gets it totally. He gets, because, Chuck Berry was singing about schools and cars, and I was singing about tough stuff on the streets. I don't know, like, and it was it was black music filtered through an Italian neighborhood. It comes out with an attitude. It's on the one. It's like, I'm the type of guy that likes them. It's hard, it's strong, it's tough. Because that's what the Bronx was, and that's what I brought into rock and roll. And he got into it immediately. But let me tell you a little story, Raymond. This is crazy. Christy Altamar, who is she played Anastasia. She had the lead in Anastasia on Broadway. She plays Susan, my love, and I'm still married. We just celebrated 59 years of marriage. My child, I met her when she was 15. I was 17. So actually, she was 14. I was 16. But anyway, Christy Altamar does an a cappella version of Teenager in Love in the second act. And Raymond, I'm watching this, and I said, I never knew what this song was about until now. I've sung it I've sung it for 50 years. I mean, 60 years. I never knew what it was about until I heard her sing it. It just broke my heart,
Yeah.
So,
well, this is what I love about musicals is these performers and the story in context can break these songs open and give them new meaning that frankly even the writers don't know are there. I mean, that's really what's happening here.
Absolutely. I was talking to Bob Gaudio about it, from the Four Seasons, and he was saying he experienced the same thing. He said when he watched the show, he said, no wonder why people bought these records, we were good.
Yeah. Well, Dion, musicals always are done with kind of a heightened sense of reality, and there is some artistic license. Did they get the essence of you? And what was it like when the rock and roll playbook was still being written? Did they capture that?
They absolutely did, Raymond. Charles Messina, because he's from New York and he feels the streets and the sounds and the movement of it, but I'll tell you, the one thing that the play isn't about, usually you get these jukebox musicals where somebody, they're brought up in this little neighborhood and they have all these obstacles and they work through them and they're Carnegie Hall. This is not like that. We went beyond fame and fortune and wealth, pleasure, power, honor. We said, hey, there's success and fulfillment are two different things. So we took it a step above. The musical is about transformation. It's about redemption. It's about enchantment. It's about fulfillment. It's about hope. And I think that the country can use a story about hope right now.
I agree. Well, look, your faith also, which you've talked about quite openly on this show and other places, there's a scene in the play where Monsignor Pernicone, that you share with him about suffering and surrendering to your faith, which saved you. How important was it to you that the show include that part of your story?
It's everything, Raymond. My friend Ralph Martin wrote a book called The Fulfillment of All Desire. If you understand the title of that book, you don't even have to read it. But, Jesus Christ, he is the fulfillment of all desire. I couldn't plan this show if I tried. I really feel it's God's show and I'm in the palm of his hand. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm in the hands of the one who holds the future. And I just sit back, I relax, and I enjoy it. I had a lot of input into it, you know, because you have to keep it on track, you know.
Yep.
Every little help. And Raymond, when you got to come over, be my guest. You got to see this thing. You won't believe it.
Well, you know what? I'm in New York this weekend. I'm coming to see it. I'm coming this weekend. And where is it going? Is it going to go to Broadway? What's your hope for it?
Well, that's what they're hoping. You know, it's a step at a time. We just we do it a little at a time. You know, I think it's a play that cannot be denied, and it's a hit. I mean, people are coming out. I'm promoting, I know, but what I'm hearing is I got to see this again. So I said, that's a good compliment.
Yeah, I'll say. Now, Dion, before we go, I have to ask you about your most recent album, Stomping Ground. This is a terrific follow-up to Blues with Friends, which we featured before. This new album has an incredible lineup: Bruce Springsteen, Eric Clapton, Peter Frampton. This is a sequel, really, to Blues with Friends. How do you stay so prolific?
You know, Raymond, during the pandemic, with all the horror stories, and I know it was rough on so many of my friends, and you know, just around the world. But for me, it was just crazy, a creative time. I had nowhere to go, Raymond. So I'm in the house, and I must have stepped under the wellspring of creativity, because I wrote 30 of the greatest songs I've ever written. It's got to be God in my life, because I couldn't plan it if I tried. So I started doing these songs, and I send one to Eric Clapton. He said, "Oh man, I'd love to play on some. You were part of my musical wake up when I was a kid. Yes, I'll do it." And he got on, and then I made friends with Peter Frampton. I never knew Peter Frampton, but one of the most wonderful guys on the face of the planet. Really a very cool guy. So, and then I had, you know, many friends like Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. They all, you know, they helped me out, you know, just a lot. Joe Bonamassa has been great, you know, and, you know, all
it's an incredible album.
Thank you so much.
I've been listening to it in the car. It's as good or better than Blues with Friends, which I didn't think you could top. How do you keep these pipes in such incredible shape? You're what, 82 now, Dion? I hate to give your age, but you're timeless.
I'm going to be 83 in July, but I'll be honest with you, Raymond. I cleaned up my act 54 years ago. I haven't had a drink or a drug. I quit smoking. I was a mess in 1968. I was just, you know, I came to an end of my life on my terms. I don't live my life on my terms anymore. I just look up in the morning, ask for some guidance, and say an Our Father. I go on my, put on the armor.
There you go. Put it on and off you go. Well, look, you're in great shape. I love the musical. I can't wait to see it. The stage musical, The Wanderer, based on the life and music of Dion, running now through April 24th at the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn, New Jersey. If you're in the Manhattan or Newark area, if you're traveling, you can get tickets and more information at thewanderermusical.com. Thewanderermusical.com, and Dion's latest record, Stomping Ground, is available on all the streaming platforms and wherever music is sold. Dion, thank you for being here. Happy Easter to you, my friend.
God bless you, Raymond. Thank you for the time, man.
Thank you.